I'm wondering, what inner shifts and adjustments will you be making this week? Hello and welcome. I'm Josephine Corcoran, holistic leadership and career coach. And one of the tools that I use in my coaching practice is astrology. And with my weekly snippets, I aim to give you some insight into what's happening with the planets and how they're talking to one another and how you can incorporate that into what you're doing for the week ahead. And this week, there's an energy that I really wanted to focus on because it takes us back to the year of 2020. And the aspect that I'm wanting to share with you this week and get you to really think about is all to do with the planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter in the sky represents abundance and a desire to expand, a thirst for knowledge, desire to go out there and seek new horizons and bring back information and insights to others around you and inspire them with what you've learned. Now, Jupiter being the biggest planet in the sky, it moves on an annual orbit. It tends to change signs, if you like, once every 12 months. And this week, Jupiter is changing signs for the first time in a year. And this is great news for those of you who are Taurians. And also the other earth signs will feel this really positively. So if you've got any planets in Taurus or Capricorn or Virgo, at some point this year, you're going to feel the beneficial impact of Jupiter making a connection with where the sun was at the time that you were born. Now, the reason that this week there is a going back to or heralding back to what happened in 2020 is that as soon as Jupiter moves into the sign of Taurus, it's going to put the spotlight very much on our resources. And it's also going to put the spotlight very much on the economic climate, as well as our housing and food. And because Jupiter tends to expand things, we're likely to see over the coming 12 months an increase in the cost of energy, of food, of any kind of resources that we're digging up from the ground or that we're taking from nature. And that will impact or flow on to the cost of housing and just our general resources that we need to live. But what this is also going to do is bring about an opportunity for reflection and inner reflection as leaders to really connect into what our value is, because Taurus is also connected to our sense of self-worth. And so the coming 12 months, we will see some expansion in terms of cost of living without question, but we'll also have this wonderful, rich opportunity to lean into what our innate abilities are and to really tune into what it is we value most and to make sure that we are pricing ourselves, whether as an employee or whether as an entrepreneur, but pricing ourselves relative to the value that we provide for others. Pricing ourselves relative to the transformation that we provide for others. So that's the first thing that's happening. And so Jupiter's going to be leaving Aries and moving into Taurus very early tomorrow morning. So that's Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 16th of May. And so we are going to, pretty soon after Jupiter moves into the sign of Taurus, we then have it meeting up and making a square aspect to the planet Pluto, which is currently in Aquarius. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is it's only there for a very short time this year. Pluto has a very, very slow orbit, and Pluto can stay up to 20 years in a sign, and eventually Pluto will be staying for 20 years in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius represents the greater collective. It represents things like how we use technology and science. It's also connected to what's going on in the airwaves, so using resonance and so forth for healing properties. Now, also Aquarius is connected to politics, and it's connected to any way in which society comes together in terms of how as individuals we come together as a greater collective. Now, Pluto in Aquarius, because Pluto represents transformation and change, it really begs us to go down to the depths, to seek out the truth and to uncover what's not right in the greater collective as far as with Pluto in Aquarius. So we're going to see this huge shift in society over the next 20 years where we're moving from a top-down leadership kind of formula that we've been working with for the last 200 years and moving towards individuals valuing themselves and understanding what it is that they're contributing and moving more towards, as Peter Druckers and Tom Peters were referring to back in the late 80s and 90s, but moving towards the knowledge worker, more and more of that rather than large organizational structures that employ individuals. But we're only at the tip of the iceberg, but this energy we're going to start to feel. Now, in 2020, Jupiter and Pluto met up in the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign of big business. And they met up 3 times, and they met up in April, late June, and mid-November of 2020. And what's going to happen tomorrow when Jupiter makes this square aspect with Pluto is it's like we've got this first quarter phase where the storyline that began back in 2020, we're going to see a new version of that coming to light. So we're going to find that there's some inner tension that comes up within us around the storyline that started for us back in 2020. So I really want to invite you this week to just think about the key topics that were going on for you in 2020. And of course, COVID was the key storyline, but it impacted all of us in really different ways. And for some people, it might have been an impact on creativity. Others, it might have been health. Others still, it might have been primary relations. For others still, it might be more about career, etc. So whatever was shifting and changing for you in 2020, this week, there's going to be an opportunity to really lean in again and understand what's the next phase of that storyline. The other thing I want to share is that Jupiter represents moving towards justice, and it is also connected to the truth. It's a truth seeker. So the storyline that began for the collective back in 2020, from this week moving forwards, we might start to see more information coming to light that has us have a different perspective on what actually unfolded in 2020. So what I urge you to do this week is to lead with a conscious and open mind, is to stay curious and to really honor and acknowledge what it is that you did, how you moved forward in 2020. And appreciate that we're now moving into the next stage of adjustment around a particular cycle. We're really looking at, from a leadership perspective, how do we want to be leading in this new era moving forwards? So wishing you all an extraordinary week. And if you'd like to find out more about how I work, or even if you're interested in astrology and how to work with that as a leader, contact me and I can talk to you about how you can join my Astrology for Business community. All right, sending you much love. Take care, stay conscious, and have an amazing week. Bye for now.